Okay, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth just came out recently, and lots of talk about it. It's best selling in the franchise, the most well received, all the eyes on it possible. Of course, I didn't pick it up. I decided I'm gonna go ahead and pick up Persona 3 Reload because for some reason Sega decided to release two turn based action RPGs 1 week apart from each other because I don't know. You know what? I'm not in the games industry. I don't understand the logic behind it. But yeah, I'm not infinitely wealthy myself, so that was my decision. But I decided, like, you know what, let's check out some user reviews because these always put a smile on my face. Because, like when you're looking for the temperature of like how people are feeling about the game, I was almost like, oh, maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I should pick up this game. But yeah, I mean, it hit a lot of controversies, and you like to get the feel of how people are taking the game. And of course, you never really get that from critics. It's just, oh, 100 out of 100, it's a great game, best in the series. Friggin' raises the bar with every way to take its rightful place. Who cares about that? I want to listen to some unhinged nonsense, okay? I don't need this. I don't need, it's the greatest game in the series, whatever. But even I would say the way that users praise a game is even better than your average critic. But let's start off with these three. These kind of worked out perfectly because we got a good range here for how people are taking this game. So starting off with this one, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth can be very entertaining at certain moments. I laughed all along with its goofy characters during the absurd situations they found themselves in. My problem with the series continues to be its filler content. There are too many minigames and side quests for the tone to maintain any kind of consistency. Even within its main story, there are ordinary scenes that show mundane activities and conversations, which only serve to lengthen the runtime. And, consistency has always been a thing that the series has always been praised for, like it can just jump from different emotions and stuff like that. But I have different feelings about this. I'm kind of lining up with this. I don't agree that, there's too many minigames and side quests. I mean, if they're not good minigames or not good side quests, then yeah, okay, yeah, they're crappy. But I mean, if they're good, they're good, right? Like, who cares how many there are, even if especially if there's like a lot of them, right? Yeah, I don't know, like the main story balancing with the side plots, with the kind of tonal consistency, I kind of agree with that. So 7 out of 10, pretty lukewarm, but pretty positive as a whole. And then we got an even more glowing review. At this point in time, I only have 45 hours in the game and planning for a lot more. The Yakuza meter has been blown through the roof and into the heavens. The side quests are fun, Sujimon battles are amazing, and Dondoko Island is ruining my math assignment. The only reason this game is not a 10 is for, you guessed it, the new game plus controversy. But if you are planning on just playing through the game, having a great time, and being done with it, it's just an amazing game. And to get on to what that review is alluding to, 9 out of 10 by the way, the new game plus controversy is that they're ripping out what was essentially part of every other Yakuza game's base game. So let's say Yakuza 7, at least in the West, which is funny to say. The new game plus would be included with that game, full price ticket, all that. But now they're ripping that out. They're taking a bonus dungeon. They're taking a few bits and bobs here and then charging you extra $20 on top of the full price game ticket right there. Which a lot of people are not happy about. I'm not super happy about that either. It makes me feel like maybe I'll wait until this game is half off on Steam or something like that, and then buy the deluxe version for less than full price or something like that. That's probably how this will end up. But yeah, not super happy about that. Not at all. And then let's get into this one, shall we? I threw up as soon as I turned on the game. Yuck! This game, My eyes started bleeding on the title screen. I'm blind because of this crap game. I tried to get my money back from PlayStation Store, but they laughed at me for buying this game. Then they stabbed me. Oh, beautiful. 0 out of 10. But yeah, a lot of people not happy about that DLC paywall. I think this kind of sums it up best. Maybe, I'm not sure. I didn't read it. The gameplay and design are in line with the previous titles, and it plays fine. However, they have a paywall, New Game Plus, and the final dungeon. The final dungeon? I think it might be a bonus dungeon. Though that'd be pretty messed up if they just locked off the last chapter of the game or something like that. As such, Standard Edition should be labeled Like a Dragon Light, or something similar to show it's not a complete product. I mean, I kind of agree. But let's keep it fair. Let's start off with let's continue with another positive review. Unfortunately, the outrage mob has landed on this game. Playing the actual game is a joy and vast improvement over Yakuza 7. I'm having some trouble dialing in how it displays on my TV, which is kind of disappointing as Gaiden looked so good. Anyway, I'm about to nowhere near finished with the game and have no idea if it deserves a 10. But I'm doing my part to offset the review bombing. 10 out of 10. And that kind of goes into the nature of review bombs. Like, people should think like, oh, they should be removed and like. But I kind of like the way Steam handles it, where it shows most recent reviews versus all-time reviews and kind of gives you a feel for how those oh my goodness, how those games are doing with the core audiences, of course. But among all the negative news and controversy, 10 out of 10, peak game. Anyone complaining that New Game Place won't even buy it anyway. They are basically done at this point with with life. This game is peak. They're just going to look for things to complain about. Goat game. I don't know. I don't like the whole idea of like, well, you weren't gonna even play it anyway, so why even bother? I'm like, just don't take stuff out of the games that used to be there, and I don't know, like that you kind of build up a tradition of constantly having things the way they were. Like, what's to say next time? It's like, well, we got away with one thing, like maybe no dragon cart in the next Yakuza 9 or whatever. You're gonna have to pay DLC for minigames. You're gonna have to pay DLC for side missions and the like. That's the crazy part. It's getting more and more crazier that guy was complaining about what's it called? Too much content. And like I mean, if there's too much content, they're ready and willing to rip it out. Don't you worry. Oh, crazy the amount of reviews here that say the game is amazing, and go on to lambaste the decision to lock New Game Plus behind a paywall. To be clear, I think that's a shady move, but unfortunately, it's not even a drop in the ocean of video game studio shadiness these days. This is another argument I'm not really fond of. Like, well, everyone else is doing it. I'm like, I don't know. Like, how about just shitty behavior is always shitty behavior, no matter how many people are doing it. People calling it a new low for the industry. I mean, you know what? Definitely not a new low. We shouldn't pretend like this is the first time this has ever happened. But I think people are well in the right to be mad about it. Need a reality check. Eventually, the review bombing for this game will stop. However, what won't stop is how amazing this game is. The best in the Yakuza Like a Dragon series, and one of the best JRPGs of the 21st century. And this part right here, I kind of agree with. I don't agree with most of it, but that part right there, I feel like, unfortunately for the crowd that's hating on the game right now and hoping that things will change, unfortunately, I feel like you still gotta admit, there's those really positive elements that people love. The story, the characters, the gameplay, those are gonna hold strong. Like, when people come back a year from now to play this game, they will not even remember anything, or won't even be aware probably of New Game Plus lock behind content or anything like that. They'll probably just remember like, oh, this crazy part in the story, and like, you know, like, oh, this mechanic or whatever. They're gonna remember the game and gameplay and story, and everything else will wash away, unfortunately. Unfortunately for the critics, but fortunate for Sega. It's a shame, but I just I think it's reality. I'm kind of nihilistic when it comes to that. But you know, paywall. I'm not gonna pay DLC. Da 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 da. Okay. These are starting to dry up. Let's move over to the Steam reviews. Let's see how these are. Let's see. Let's go for some crazy nonsense. You know, yeah, a lot. New Game Plus. Screw you. You know, like. This will probably be the main sentiment everyone's seeing. This is the only review I've ever posted. I love the Yakuza series, and I'm sure I will love this game as well. However, New Game Plus being locked behind a paywall is one of the scummiest things I've ever seen out of the series. I cannot believe they thought this would fly under the radar. New Game Plus needs to be patched into the base version of the game. I don't think Sega's gonna do it. I'd love for them to just like, hey, you know what, guys, you were right. Not gonna happen, most likely. If they continue pushing the business practice onto future projects, I will no longer be supporting the Yakuza franchise, and hopefully, you know, a good chunk of people feel that way. You know, like, I don't even feel like it needs to be, you know, like half of the players or something. I think like at least a sizable amount of people, like I don't know quite the number what it is, maybe like 25% or something like that, something noticeable, for them to go like, oh yeah, maybe we shouldn't do that. Even if just reception, if people, you know, kept bashing Sega for this, kept bashing RGG for this, maybe it would cause a difference. I don't know. You would hope. You know, at the end of the day, Sega doesn't want to lose sales, right? Like, and if they think it matters. So love the Des. Sega, you fat. Sega, you fat. Game is well optimized. Sega, you greedy piece of. Love Ichibum. But Sega, you for putting New Game Plus behind paywall. Sega, you all unlock New Game Plus without buying the New Game Plus. I love this game so much. Thumbs up. Why 2 thumbs up? Weak move, real weak move. Shows them you are okay with it. Why the hell is this game in positive review? Okay, let's see. As great as the game is, I will not recommend it as a little, as my little way of telling Sega and RGG that I do not support cutting basic game mechanics that are required to 100% the game in order to upsell us and get more money from us. I totally agree with that. I feel like we should just put the blame on both of them. Like, you know, a tendency I find a lot is like publisher, like anything bad that happens is the publisher's fault. Anything that good that happens is the what's it called, the developers, you know, doing. Well, it's like, nah, just blame them both. Whatever, you know, they're both in bed together. They're both profiting off of any decisions, like any bad decisions Sega decides to do. It's not like RGG doesn't profit from that as well. So, you know, sets a bad precedent. Oh, they disabled comments. No, come on. Like, you think people are gonna I mean, I think more people would be on that person's side. Very sad to see. Let's see. Almost a perfect game as expected. Oh, come on. I want to see. Oh, there we go. Sega, suck on my left nutsack's side. You greedy, whoring, money-suckling scumbags making basic features of the series locked behind a microtransaction. At least make it cheap, like $2. It's 23 AUD. I think that's Australian? I don't know. Difference between base game and your paywalled New Game Plus upgrade with like 2 extra in-game items and a bonus dungeon. Don't forget that. The game though, or I guess like a dungeon that would have been there if they didn't rip it out. Who knows? Who knows if that dungeon's just a copy paste piece of crap and then they, you know, the difficulty scaler. They just scaled up the like health 100, attack 100. The game though, I'm digging it. The turn-based system is much more refined than 7's, which I hated with a passion. Really, I didn't hate it, but I can see, man, it got really stale with the random encounters towards the end game. Like when you hit like the team chapters, like chapters 11 through 15. Could not enjoy it at all. The 20 plus hours I played, I watched the rest on YT because it was not worth it for me at that point. I was just in it for the story. Well, I'm not big for people just blatantly like re-uploading whole cutscenes onto YouTube. And it's like, there's already a bunch of gameplay, like, man. No, I'm not a big fan of that. I think, most game studios that aren't Atlas or Nintendo have been very gracious, have been very kindly to YouTubers just posting whatever they want about the games onto YouTube. But, like, not that, and I'm not trying to target transformative content, where it's an actual gameplay, someone's playing the game, they're talking over the game, they're, pausing here and there, like, they're making it into their own thing. I think a game like, what's it called, commentary with Twitch playthrough is definitely transformative enough, maybe, at least by my own scale, right? But, just uploading whole cutscenes, we wouldn't accept that for movies, I don't think. I don't think anyone would accept, like, uploading all of Lord of the Rings on YouTube. And neither would the studios. They would definitely clamp down on that. Not big on that. And I feel like more of this sentiment is going to cause big problems on YouTube later on. But anyways, only 10 hours in, but I'm having a hell of a lot more fun than I did with 7. Especially the Hawaii map. Everything is much more fleshed out, gotta say. Whatever game Kiryu finds himself in, his combat is always the most satisfying. His different fighting styles from Zero and Kiwami make a triumphant return in turn-based, and RGG adapted it into the new combat spectacularly. The styles fill different roles, and his style, he's great. And his job by far the most versatile in the game, bar none. Ichiban's job, as usual, middle of the road. He's got good attacks, fine support abilities, nothing out of the ordinary. If you somehow like a Dragon's combat, this is an upgrade. If you're a fan of the series, this is a must. Okay. So, it got super positive there at the end, actually. I forgot that this review right here belonged to this review. I thought these two different people. Oh, jeez. Okay, he still gave it a thumbs up at the end of all that. Dane guy. Yeeks. Locking base game content behind a paywall is dame da bad. But they really lost their judgment with this one. Sega is only after their infinite wealth. Cry all you want, game only has 2K reviews on Steam, so it didn't sell very well. And good, trash game. Oof. You know what? You'd like to think like, oh, Sega and RGG must be sweating from all this controversy. They must be not liking all these negative reviews, which they definitely don't. They definitely don't like pointing out attention to, hey, how am I gonna pay $70 for a game and then you want paid day one DLC, an extra $20 or whatever? They definitely don't like this, but unfortunate blackpilling news. Largest launch on Steam at the very least, and that might not translate directly to this being the best selling like a Dragon game, but just paying attention to these Steam releases, we can kind of see here that all the latest games take up the top 3. Even Yakuza 0 being like one of the ones that like revitalized the series. Even like a Dragon Ishin here, and that's like a spin-off title, and it tops the list. Like all the core like games are like way below. Like even Judgment made it to near the top. But look at that. Not even Yakuza 7 broke broke top 1 or 2. It's The Man Who Erased His Name, which is, again, another spin-off title, made it to 2nd place on Steam. This is crazy. Yeah. Yeah, peak concurrent users. Okay, sorry. So I guess this doesn't necessarily translate to sales, but it definitely translates to concurrent users. But, I mean, you know, pretty close. Whatever. I screwed that up. But, you know, whatever. Users do equal sales in a sense. Whatever. Oh, just to make a point here, though, why I'm truly pissed about this whole infinite wealth nonsense is because Persona 3, yeah, releasing February 2nd, 2024. And, you know, I had thoughts about this, like, why the hell are you releasing, why is Sega releasing Persona 3 a week after Infinite Wealth? Like, what the hell is the deal? And the only thing that a friend pointed out to me is that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is coming out at the end of the freaking month. So that just ruins everything. Like, your whole scheduling has to be, like, oh, so perfect and, like, lining up. And I guess, like, Persona 3, oh, you know, it's, like, all, you know, emo looking, you know, like, is that audience really going to play Infinite Wealth? Well, I will. I don't know. I don't know if I stand for most people, but, you know, that sucks. Anyways, back to the reviews. Yeah, pretty much on and on like this. Hey, you know, don't lock off content. You know, 27 Canadian, what the hell? But yeah, I think that's about it. I wanted to save one of my favorite reviews I saw for last. So let's get to it. Back to Metacritic. Great review here. Pretty lengthy. Let's go through this. This game is a pile of garbage. The graphics are a joke. The whole art style stuff is just an excuse for developers to be cheap and lazy. I can't get hit by a car, and they lack any braking physics. Where is the depth and attention to detail? It's the same garbage as Spider-Man 2. Speaking of SM2, I can't actually fall off a bicycle by hitting a car in that delivery minigame. The fact that these developers can add that detail with a smaller budget, but Insomniac can't even do that, is embarrassing. It's undeniable proof that Insomniac is greedy and lazy, but I digress. You definitely did. Back to this trash. I can't even do the stunt jumps myself in this minigame. That game... Damn. The game does it for you. That's the game in a nutshell because of the turn-based combat. I don't have a problem with turn-based, but there's no denying it's the laziest form of combat imaginable. Feel like you can do some creative stuff with it, but you know. These lazy developers decrease the workload with turn-based because they don't have to worry about the AI and physics. I mean, there's still AI. I mean, there's still enemy AI. They still have to react in certain ways. And the physics engine is, I think, I think it's exactly the same as the other Yakuza games. So, not agreeing with you there, but let's keep going. When I pay $70, I expect these developers to work hard to make a top-notch AAA quality game. The physics are beyond horrible. No hair physics. In my 44 plus years of gaming, I have never heard of a protagonist's voice as awful as Kiryu's English dub based. And yes, I would much rather hear 8-bit sounds for voice acting than Kiryu's cringeworthy voice based. He literally sounds like a male social worker trying too hard to sound like a tough guy based. I had to look up who the voice actor was, and are you freaking kidding me? A YouTuber? They didn't even hire a YouTuber with talent. They hired a guy who rants about games with the typical COD and sports games are the worst, but arty-farty movie games are 11 out of 10 opinion that every bully victim agrees with based. But if you're going to hire a talentless YouTuber for the voice acting, at least hire someone who sounds like a real man and not some beta male toy collecting millennial who has never touched a game who's never touched a wrench in his life. Because of this, I had to change it to the original language. The gameplay is boring and repetitive. When I pay $70, I expect a combat system with depth and detail. All the developers did in this game is put pretty lights during every move to give players the illusion that this game is fun. None of that is fun for me. There is no multiplayer, so once you beat the game, there is literally not a reason to play this game again. Charging $70 for a game with no replay value is a cash grab. And by multiplayer, I mean multiplayer with actual core gameplay mechanics, not just the minigame modes. It's the same garbage as Lost Judgment. And if these developers are going to rely on minigames for multiplayer, would it kill them to add online? Speaking of minigames, that's pretty much the only redeemable quality. If you're going to make turn-based combat, at least give me minigames with real-time gameplay systems. Although it's not enough to make up for Kiryu's terrible voice acting based. An outrageous $70 price tag. If only Kiryu had a better English voice based. This would have been a 1 or a 2, but my mind's made up. 0 it is. There were textures in that game that made me want to puke. And the greedy developers had the audacity to lock New Game Plus behind a paywall. I only recommend this game if it's on PS Plus. If only more freaking so-called fans had the same attitude. Sega would definitely no, take it. We won't be charged. In fact, it's just free. You just have to download it. We'll put it in, we'll patch it in. If more fans were like that. But yeah, I mean, man, reading these reviews are always a rabbit hole that I fully embrace and jump into. But that's all for now. Like, comment, subscribe, my fellow beta males. Oh,